What's up, y'all? I want to talk about how my relationship with Ethelwulf went down or went up in smoke. I don't know. Ethelwulf hit me up in 2009 or 2008. Matter of fact, 2010 about a beat that I had posted on YouTube. It was a beat I made for my homie Scooby at first, but I don't know what happened. I made it with Scooby in mind because Scooby's from Texas, so I had that Pimp C sample in there. Later on, Ethelwulf used it with Amber London. That was the first beat I sent him. And then the second beat I sent him, he called First Chapter the Funk, which was before his first mixtape came out. Before his first mixtape came out, I don't know if it was just the time, but he was like he reminded me of the New Boys, that group from California, You're a Jerk and all that. To me, that's who he was rapping like. Or Wiz Khalifa or something, but I sent him those two beats first. Amber London was already in Raider Clan. She ended up doing the collab with Ethelwulf, and then Ethelwulf went into Raider Clan. And in that time, I sent him all the beats that ended up on the mixtape Wolfgang Rodolphi. And also during that time, I was still making YouTube videos like this, just talking on the camera, vlogging. And he said, he typed in the comments, this dude right here in this video is Raider Clan. So that was him saying I'm Raider Clan. Space Ghost Perp never said I was in Raider Clan. But of course, Ethelwulf's gonna say that. So I message him and I just say, take me. I said something about coming to Memphis, and I think one of his homies in the back was like, it was a voice chat, maybe like a voice message, and his homeboy in the back was saying something about a mascot. We could use a mascot, and that's bullshit. When you're talking to me, that's bullshit. I don't know what they was discussing beforehand or in the background or whatever, but that's what I heard. And he was like, maybe you could stay with me in Memphis. But we never really talked any more about that. And then he went to California, and I sent him a beat with a Busy Bone sample. And he was like, oh man, this is so tight. And then that same time, I think he did his first interview. And in the interview, he never said Conflict OD made my beats. They just assumed that Ethelwulf made the beats. So a little bit after that, I was like, bro, we were actually discussing payment. And I said, just take me with you on tour or whatever like that. I'll be your roadie. You know what I mean? It don't have to be no paychecks. It don't have to be, it could just be, let me stay with you. Let me eat what you eat, drink what you drink. That was the discussion. And later on, I made a beat called The Black Group for Ethelwulf, a hard ass beat. Probably the hardest beat I sent him. And Krayshawn retweeted it. Matter of fact, Gangsta Boo retweeted one of Ethelwulf's tracks that I produced. And I told Gangsta Boo, I was like, I produced that. She was like, so what? So, fuck her. But, okay, so The Black Group. And then I let everything go. I was like, he blew up. He's doing shows on my beats. And so the last thing I produced for him was in 2015. So what happened, like, basically was he stopped asking for my beats. Like Denzel Curry wanted some of my beats, and he was like, bro, send me some shit like you did for Ethelwulf. And I didn't want to do that because Denzel Curry is a different artist. But I mean, as far as Raider Clan, you know, I did some for Chris Travis. I did some for Black Smurf. I did some for Simi. I don't know if Simi ever rapped on anything I did, but I did some for Raider Clan in Atlanta. Did some for Chirp. Johnny Bravo, that's Ocean Gang. That's a whole nother thing. But the Year of the Wolf was the last thing I produced for Ethelwulf. That was 2015. I dropped everything basically until maybe like 2019. I said something on Instagram about it wasn't a threat, but it was something about a tour of Memphis. I was like, he owes me a tour of Memphis, something. And we had a little slight exchange back and forth, and he was basically saying I never made no money off the mixtape. All right, so come like 2020, come like last year, really, I looked into it, but I think this was 2022. All the stuff came out with Ethelwulf and him beating women. I don't have anything against Ethelwulf for that. Not him personally for that. I wouldn't let someone do that in my presence. You know, if me and him was homies, you know, I'd let him know that I don't play that. But I don't hold it against him. You know, I know people who have beaten women and slipped up and went too far and shit. I don't hold it against them. It's just like people saying free R. Kelly or free South Park Mexican. Like, you want him to be free, but you're not really gonna let these people around your teenage sisters and your teenage nieces and daughters and shit like that. It's kind of like that, you know. I don't hold it against him personally. He ain't gonna beat my ass. So but then I look him up and I find out that he was reselling that first mixtape as an NFT. I don't know who, you know, on his team told him to do that nerdy ass shit, but his nerdy ass was selling an NFT. And it was like a Kickstarter page where you have tiers that, hey, you order this tier and you get like artwork or something like that. There were packages. And it gave the number of packages ordered from each tier. So I calculated it up and he made about $12,000 off of the NFT re-release of his first mixtape that I produced. And those tracks he doesn't have the masters for. I don't have the masters for those beats. So he cannot go through, adjust hi-hat levels, adjust synth levels, adjust bass drum levels. He can't remaster this tape. But he's selling it as an NFT. What is I don't even care what the incentive is, but it's just like, why do that? It's not a remastered tape. So anyway, I never got no money from Ethelwulf. I never got my tour of Memphis from Ethelwulf. And I never really, other than the fans and the underground knowing that I produced a tape, I never really got no credit for it. So that's what's up. That's what's up with Ethelwulf.